and welcome back to the Journey Through Yarn Knitting podcast. My name's Rebecca and I'm a knitter and knitwear designer based on the east coast of Scotland, and this is my little corner of the internet where I chat all things knitting, my designing process and lots of yarny goodness. So if that sounds like something you'd enjoy, settle on down, grab your current whip, a nice cosy drink or something cool for this hot weather we've been having, and we'll just get right on into it. So for those returning viewers, you may have noticed my absence over the last few months. Really, it has been since I last uploaded a video. There's just been a lot going on, just in life in general. I've still been knitting and I've still been designing, and if you follow me on the other platforms you'll know and you'll get to see more frequent updates. But yeah, as for YouTube, I've just not had the time or the mental space to sit down and compile a video, plan it out and actually film it. So I'm really glad to be doing that today, and I've got a lot to share with you, with it being quite a length of time. I've got a pattern which I've published in a magazine to share with you. I've had a pattern release in that time, and I've also currently got out a tester call. So a lot to get through, so I think we'll just get right on into it and start talking about the knitting and all the life stuff I'll leave to the end, so I know not everybody's interested in that. So we'll start with the magazine, which is also what I'm wearing. This is the Tentsmuir cardigan. I designed this, or started designing this, well over a year ago now, and it would have been the middle of June. Gosh, I can't remember the exact date, but the middle of June it finally is out in the world in printed form. This is Making Stories. It's issue 14 and it is their latest issue, but also their final issue. I mentioned, I think, in my last video a previous video when I was talking about this cardigan, that they have made the decision to close. So this is their final issue, and it is such a gorgeous issue. There's so many beautiful patterns in it, a lot that I'm quite excited to actually cast on myself. This was originally going to be the 2025 autumn winter edition, so it is very cozy woolly knits, lots of texture. The theme of the magazine is Forest Respite, so yeah, just a cozy woodland inspired collection of patterns. They've got accessories, cardigans, jumpers, and there's also some really nice articles in here, and it's just a lovely piece of work. They've done such a fantastic job of putting this together. But it being Making Stories' final issue, there is only a limited number of copies. I will leave a link below to Making Stories stockists, which they still have on their website, and hopefully your local yarn shop is on there and they may have a few copies available. So if you do fancy knitting this and getting your hands on it, definitely go and check out your local yarn shop. So yeah, as I say, this is the Tentsmuir cardigan. It's also on the cover, which is kind of crazy. A real pinch me moment when this arrived. So Tentsmuir is a nature reserve in Fife in Scotland, and I used to visit it quite a lot, more so when we used to live in Dundee, and it was a nice place to escape from the city and just take in all the nature. It's also got, so it's like a huge woodland like park, loads of different trails. There's also like a beach area to it, with like lookout points, and it's just a lovely place. They've also got a fantastic like food place, so afterwards we'd always get a pancake. So it was a really nice, quite a significant place to us, so it felt really right and natural to name after that. So this is it in the magazine. So it's a bottom up drop shoulder cardigan, and the body and the yoke is all over cabled and garter panel texture, inspired by the the woodland trees and the towering pines. And then the sleeves are stockinette, apart from there's a cable. There's a cable which, maybe you'll see very well, but it comes right down along the shaping, the trapezium shaping of the yoke, and then it continues up the sleeve and right into the cuff. And then it has a double knit button band. That's all to say about it, really. I have spoken about it in a previous podcast episode, which I will leave a link to up above. We're hopefully going to in a bit more detail. So given that I've spoken about it before, I won't go on about it too much today, but I am planning to go to Ginger Twist Studios in Edinburgh at the weekend and pick up a copy. So I'll hopefully take some video clips of that day and make it its own video. So maybe in that video I'll talk more about the Tentsmuir cardigan, about writing the pattern for making stories, and go into it in a lot more depth there. So I'll leave it at that for today. But just to say that this is now out in the world. They're fantastic photos. I wish I could take photos of my samples like they have here. They're absolutely lovely. Yeah, I'm feeling very, very grateful to be included in such a beautiful collection of patterns. I'll also leave a link down below to the Ravelry. You can view it on Ravelry, although you can't buy it on Ravelry as of yet. You can see the pattern, it's listed on Ravelry, and you can see the testers, their versions of it, and there's some lovely, lovely versions that the testers did. So I'll link that down below as well if you want to see a couple of other versions of it. Another finished object, which wasn't even an acquisition or a whip in the last episode, it just kind of appeared on my needles, flew off, I wrote it up, it was tested, and now it's been out since, would it come out probably May time? And it's a cowl. This is the Cambo Cowl. I have to say it is one of my favourite things I've ever actually knit. I love it so much. It's a bit warm at the moment for a cowl, but when the autumn rolls around, I'm so excited to get so much wear of this. So the yarn from this was actually gifted, so I will start with that, and this is the Woolly Thistle. They are a fantastic yarn shop in the United States. They have their own yarn brand called Rambler. So the grey colour, the undyed, is called Natural, and the green is called Pine. So when I was sent these two skeins, I originally thought socks. It is a sock yarn. It's 4-ply, and you get 420 yards in 100 grams. I'm not sure what that is in meters. And it is 80% Dorset, 10% Cordell, and 10% Grey Romney. So a really lovely, natural, woolly sock yarn. But the more I looked at the yarn, the more I thought, oh no, it needs to be something that is too nice to just be on my feet and not really seen. So I decided to go with a cowl, and I'm so glad that I did. So this is knit up. I'm going to have to take it off because it's way too warm. It's knit in the round and then Kitchener stitched to graft the ends together with a twist in it. And I just added this leaf motif to it. I'm really, really happy with it. Cambo is it's an estate. It's along the eastern Wick of Fife, so quite close to St Andrews. It's a really nice estate that you can visit. They've got a cafe, beautiful gardens, they've got sheep, which I always love going and saying hello to, and it's just a woodland forest area. It's just a really special place, so I named it after that, so the Cambo Cowl. I had a fantastic group of test knitters who did beautiful versions. I will add some photos of their versions, and it's just a great, you don't have to use You can use any 4-ply yarn, and it takes about 1 skein of each. So if you have 2 skeins, 2 skeins of 4-ply yarn, more than enough to get you the Cambo Cowl. Probably like 100 grams, and I think you might even get away with a 50-gram ball for the contrast. Yeah, very happy. So this is the Cambo Cowl. It is available on Ravelry and Etsy if you fancy giving it a go and making your own version. So the next thing, which was a whip, so you have seen this before, but it is now finished, and this is the Grassmarket Slipover. This is knit in John Arbin Knit by Numbers DK in the shade 45. So it is a top-down slipover design. It has a double folded collar and then a cable which runs down both side seams like this. And what gives it its name, so I love the Grassmarket in Edinburgh and Victoria Street. It's so historic and iconic, and I just love the curves of those streets. So where it gets its name from, and what I've tried to emulate, is the curve. The hemline is a high-low hem, and it's curved and rounded. It just flows from the front straight down and into the back. And it's finished around the armhole and the hem with an I-cord edging. I'll add in some photos which kind of show it a bit clearer than me just holding it up. But this I have a tester call out for. So when this video goes up, the tester call should still be open. I'm planning to start this on Sunday the 6th of July, and it will run for 10 weeks. So right into September, middle of September time. So you can use any DK weight yarn as long as you meet gauge, and it's a really quick, fun knit. I've been wearing this a lot as more of a tank top in the maybe on the cooler summer days where it warrants wool. But I'm also really excited to kind of layer this over white shirts and just like plain t-shirts in the more transitional autumn weather. This yarn is so lovely and soft that I'm more than happy to wear this next to skin. But obviously if that's how you'd style it, you might choose a fibre type which you'd be more comfortable wearing next to your skin. But yeah, so the Grassmarket Slipover, the test knit is now open. I will leave the form if you fancy signing up in the description box below. And if you have any questions that you don't feel that the sign up form covers, just drop me an email. I'll also leave that below, and I'm always happy to answer any questions that you might have. So there we go, that's the Grassmarket Slipover. Final finished object, and this was, I think it was still a whip, but it was very nearly a finished object in my last episode. And this is the Petite Knit zipper light. I think that's what it's called. It's the light version of the zipper fleece. Here we go. So everything about it's a pattern, except for in the body I wanted to add some sheep. I mentioned in the previous video that a YouTuber that I really enjoy watching, Caroline McCushton, over Christmas was wearing this fleece, which she was gifted by a brand, and it had sheep on, and it was this kind of brown colour, and I thought, oh, I really wanted that fleece. But as a knitter, it was kind of, it didn't have a particularly high wool content for the price of it, and there's always that I could knit that. So anyway, I had this brown yarn in stash, and that is what I chose to do. I knit my own version, so it's not identical by any means. It's more inspired by. And the sheep motif, I got that from Donna Smith a few years ago for Shetland Wool Week. Wrote a hat pattern, with sheep on it. So I kind of used that, and I just kind of modified the sheep slightly and the spacing between them to kind of fit with my stitch count. And I did 3 rows. I think if I was to do it again, I would maybe add, just before the cuff, a row of sheep. But I think by that point I was so done with it and I just wanted it off my needles, so I didn't. I just did plain sleeves. But I'm very happy with it. I've worn it a few times, but now the weather is just too warm to wear it. But like March, April, early May time, I was wearing it quite a bit. The yarn is, the brown is West Yorkshire Spinners Fleece. It's Blue Face Leicester and it's DK weight in the shade light brown. I have 1 skein left, so might be a hat, don't know. And the sheep is the cream. The white of the sheep is the cream version of the West Yorkshire Spinners Fleece, and the legs and the faces of the sheep I wanted to be charcoal rather than black. I just think with the tone of brown it was, black might have just been a bit too severe. So I used the Sanna's Garn Pure Gint in the shade, there we go, it's a number. It's one of the Petite Knit colourways. And I'm really pleased with it. I've worn it maybe like 10 times over the past couple of months, and the wear on it is quite noticeable. It has bobbled quite a lot and it's definitely crying out for a de-pilling. I hope you can't hear that. They're cutting the grass outside and they've been here all day. But anyway, we'll just carry on. Hopefully it's not too annoying. And it's definitely crying out for being de-pilled. I wanted to kind of hold off just to show the wear a bit on the podcast. I mean, with it being a natural fibre, you know, I always like to give it a bit of the first few wears, a bit of grace that, you know, it is gonna bobble. But this I think was quite bad compared to a lot of the other garments that I've made. This is definitely the most noticeable. So something to bear in mind if you are interested in using this yarn, and it's something which I will definitely consider in the future. I'll give it a good de-pill and it'll be interesting to see how it wears over the next few times and how long it takes to need another de-pilling. The zip I got from Knit and Living. It is the Petite Knit zip, which is recommended with the pattern, although you can use absolutely any zip. I just thought the shade of it was really quite nice with the light brown fabric I'd chosen. So yeah, very happy with this. I will leave a link to the Ravelry notes I've made on how I modified the pattern. So if you do want to make this modification in either this pattern or, I mean, it would work in absolutely any jumper or cardigan pattern if it's knit in the round, unless you want to do colour work on the wrong side, which is certainly not my preferred way of doing it, but yeah, you could definitely add it to so many things. So there we go. That is all my finished objects. So in terms of whips, I've not got many active whips. a lot of things that I have on my needles are kind of at a bit of a problem solving stage, so are a little bit stagnant. So hopefully by the next episode I'll have figured some things out and then start sharing them. But for this episode I have one whip, and it's actually some yarn. So I went to the Woolly Good Gathering in Edinburgh way back in April, and I bought some bits. So they're also my acquisitions. But I got some yarn there, and within the day of coming back home, I cast on something with it. Now this has been on my needles then since April, and I haven't done much work on it. This is the Autumn Tales shawl by Ozetta. So it is a garter stitch shawl with an applied I-cord edge, I believe, which you do afterwards, but I am very much still on the increase section. So you do a period of increases, then a straight for however long, and then decrease. Yeah, I'm still on the increase. And that is because it's worked in this gorgeous yarn. This is the yarn which I picked up from the Woolly Good Gathering in April, and it is unspun from Uist wool, and it's in this lovely like oatmeal-y colour. It's my absolute favourite, and I'm holding it double, so working 2 plates at the same time. But it is so nice to work with. The only other unspun I've ever worked with is Mancholopi by Wool Dreamers, and that's meant to be one of the stronger ones to work with. I still had a few issues with it breaking at the very beginning, with it being my first time using it. But this, other than right now, hasn't broken on me, and I've found this to be far, far stronger and easier to work with than the Mancholopi. That was my cast on, and I'm really enjoying it. So 2 reasons why it's kind of taken a bit of a backseat is that the warmer weather and working with unspun in the warm weather I do find more of a challenge and not as enjoyable. But also we recently brought home a puppy. So about 2 months ago we brought home Maya, which is our newest addition to the family. She is a working line golden retriever, and she's absolutely beautiful. She's a bundle of energy and she requires an awful lot of our attention. So having unspun yarn out is just asking for trouble and a disaster waiting to happen. So the knitting that I have been doing has all been spun yarns, but that I've had to be very, very careful about keeping my yarn really close to me and making sure she hasn't managed to get hold of it. So with unspun, it was just, I'll leave it until the autumn, the cooler weather, and I'm hoping she's going to calm down and kind of mature and learn that yarn is not hers. Who knows? Does that ever happen? If you've got a dog, let me know. Does it just wake up one day? Yeah, but she's beautiful otherwise, but she is very tempted by the yarn. So that's my whip, the Autumn Tales Shawl by Ozetta, and it's been really nice to knit on with it being garter stitch and following someone else's pattern. It has been a nice brain break. And I should also mention that this cute little stitch marker is by Ode at Baubles and Berries. She sells the most gorgeous hand embroidered stitch markers, and this little mushroom is just the perfect colour wise and season wise. But yeah, I may have to pick it back up in the autumn. We'll see what progress gets made on it. I love this yarn. It's really soft. It is Hebridean wool, but I mean this is US wool as well, and this is far softer. So maybe if you're tempted to kind of dip your toe in the maybe more rustic yarns and try out unspun yarn, this would be a really good, with it being quite strong and I would say pretty soft for Hebridean wool. Definitely recommend. So that brings me really nicely on to my other acquisitions. I have 2 acquisitions, and both of these I purchased when I went to the Woolly Good Gathering back in April. We'll start with this one first. This is a skein by Donna Smith, her yarn brand. It is a DK weight, 220 meters and 100 grams, and it's 100% Shetland wool. So it was really nice seeing all the yarns. There were so many different brands that was just nice to have the opportunity to see it all under one roof. Yeah, squished lots of yarn. It was a very sociable, community feeling event. But I'm pleased to say I didn't go too crazy on my purchases. So it was nice, really nice meeting Donna and seeing all of her yarn. She came over from Shetland for it, and yeah, she naturally dyes all of her yarn. She has her own herd of Shetland sheep. So I was really drawn to this like olivey green colour. The colourway is Tang. There we go. And there's what she dyed it with. The plan for this is to be a hat. I picked up one skein. I was so tempted to pick up a sweater's quantity. It would be so lovely to have. It would make a very special sweater. But I stuck with the one skein and thought it would make a really nice hat. Quite. What, I don't know. I've never designed a hat. I'm very tempted by that idea, but we'll see what it is. And it'd be a nice addition to my wardrobe, because I've only got one hat, and that was an Oslo hat which I've knit for myself, so I definitely need to add more hats into my collection. And the final purchase I made at the festival was this skein of Black Isle Yarns Killen sock. It's 80% Blueface Leicester and 20% mohair, 400 meters and 100 grams, so 4 ply weight. Again, this is all wool from the Highlands of Scotland, so she gathers up all these fleeces from different farmers across the Highlands, and then she naturally dyes it herself. Julie, her name's Julie. I've been to a workshop once and it was really beautiful. Originally I'm from the very north of Scotland, so it always feels special working with Black Isle yarns. Fleece, which is from extremely close to where I grew up. And this is in the colourway Hawthorn, and it's been dyed with walnut and Ike, I think is how you say it. I'm not sure actually, but I will show you. And it's a really nice, like, it's almost apricot-y, brown apricot kind of colour. I hope the camera is actually picking it up. But it's so nice and so lovely, and I've definitely wanted to try working with more natural sock yarn. So the mohair is what will give it its strength in place of nylon. So that is really excited, and the plan for this is to knit a pair of Linaria socks by Mariev at In Her Skein. She's got so many beautiful socks, a lot of them quite floral themed, which I love. So the socks themselves are really simple in the most beautiful way. They're gorgeous. They look simple, but they've got these added details which just elevates them, and they're the most delicate, elegant socks. I've knit one of them before, test knitted one of them, and it was a colourwork one. I'm very excited. So this will be the main colour, and then for the floral element, which will be a contrast colour, this is what I have in my stash. So I have, this is John Arbon Exmoor sock in the shade Bibblebug. So I'm just not sure if the contrast is high enough. So that's option 1. For option 2, this, I'm not sure, I think it's oatmeal melange, I want to say. It's Filclarna Avetta, and I used this to knit a pair of Tin Can Knits The World's Simplest Mittens in December. And I feel like that's maybe a higher contrast, but I'm not sure. Let me know what you think in terms of contrast colour. I'm excited that I'm able to use up some stash yarn as well by doing that. So there we go. How cute is this illustration as well? So cute. So there we go, that is my knitting update. Hopefully it definitely won't be as long as it has been. We've kind of settled into a routine now with the puppy. She is calmer now, she can settle herself, she can be left on her own for a little bit, where in the very, very early days she needed pretty much 24/7 attention. But yeah, we've definitely started to get routine and our lives back. So yeah, it hopefully won't be much longer until another episode. And as I said earlier, I am going to Edinburgh at the weekend. So I'm planning to film that, and I'm excited to see the magazine like on a shelf. Yeah, really excited. So I'll chat more about the Tentsmuir cardigan in that video. But do let me know what you've been working on. What's your current project? I love hearing what you've been knitting on. It's so inspiring. I love looking up on Ravelry when someone mentions a pattern. So yeah, let me know what you've been working on, and if there's anything in particular content wise you'd like to see. I am trying to think more about what types of videos beyond a podcast I could upload, just for a bit of variety for both you and me. But thank you so much for watching, and until next time, happy knitting. Bye now.